question comes in from Katie Ann. Katie Ann says this: how do I overcome feeling discouraged working for the church? I know that God is calling me to work for him, yet I get so discouraged due to cliques and power struggles that often occur with those at the administrative levels in my parish. And that's from Katie. So Katie, yeah, you know what? We just have to discern God's will by saying, is the Lord called me to this? And if he is, then he would give me the grace to do my duty well, to share a gift of myself for the people in my parish community well, if he's calling me to work for the parish. Otherwise, he might be calling to be a lay disciple of Jesus Christ who ministers as a volunteer and is not on paid staff. However, if you do decide to abide together with very messy members of the body of Christ in the administrative level of the parish, then I would encourage you to lean into a closer relationship with St. John of the Cross. St. John of the Cross, as many of you know, is one of my favorite saints. He's a spiritual master. And St. John of the Cross, he abided in relationship with a community that, quite frankly, did not like him. They were very difficult to be around. They even at one point put him in prison, like a makeshift prison for 9 months. And it was through his time in that prison that he was able to grow in the interior life and present to the church his profound spiritual writings on the dark night of the soul. So St. John of the Cross, he said this to his friars that I think can be applied to your life. My spiritual mentor, Dr. Tom Neal, he took a quote from St. John of the Cross and he adds in basically where you're at right now in the season of your life. So I'll read you the quote all the way through one time, and then I'll do what Dr. Tom Neal does, which is replace the word monastery with whatever your season of life is. So this is what St. John of the Cross said. And Katie, I would encourage you to engrave this truth on your heart. You have not come to the monastery for any other reason than to be worked and tried in virtue. You are like the stone that must be chiseled and fashioned before being set in the building. Thus, you should understand that those who are in the monastery are craftsmen placed there by God to mortify you by working and chiseling at you. Some would chisel with words, telling you what you would rather not hear. Others by deed, doing against you what you would rather not endure. Others by their temperament, being in their person and in their actions a bother and annoyance to you. And others by their thoughts, neither esteeming nor feeling love for you. You ought to suffer these mortifications and annoyances with inner patience, being silent for love of God and understanding that you did not enter the religious life for any other reason than for others to work you in this way. And so you become worthy of heaven. If this was not your reason for entering the religious state, you should not have done so, but should have remained in the world to seek your comfort, honor, reputation, and ease. So what Dr. Neal does is he would take that and he would say this to you. You have not come to the parish for any other reason than to be worked and tried in virtue. You are like a stone, Katie, that must be chiseled and fashioned before being set in the building. Thus, you should understand that those who are in the parish on the administrative level are craftsmen placed there by God to mortify you by working and chiseling at you. Sometimes they will chisel you with their words, telling you what you'd rather not hear. Other times by deeds, doing against you what you'd rather not endure. And other times by their temperament, being in their person and in their actions a bother and annoyance to you, Katie. And other times by their thoughts, neither esteeming nor feeling love for you. But you, Katie, ought to offer and suffer these mortifications and annoyances with inner patience, being silent for love of God and understanding that you did not enter into the parish life for any other reason than for your coworkers to work you in this way. And so you become worthy of heaven. If this was not your reason for entering into the parish office staff, you should have not done so, but should have remained out there in the world to seek comfort, honor, reputation, and ease. Woo, man, St. John of the Cross don't play. So recognize that we are all in need of purification, and you have a gift that you can offer your potential coworkers in the parish, in the office, in the administrative levels. You have a gift that you can offer them by being used by God to purify them. But they also can be used by God to chisel at you and to help you become the saint that you're called to be if God indeed is calling you to work for that specific parish. That's your discernment. God, are you calling me to share my charisms with my parish as a paid staff person in this office? And if so, if you're calling me to work in this parish, if this is where you're sending me, Lord, and I know that the staff is really messy, then I must open my heart up to being purified of my vices through you in them. Christ, purify me in them. Teach me patience, teach me kindness. Because that's what we're called for. We're called for community. It's in the context of community that we grow. It's easy to go out and look for people that affirm us all the time and encourage us and are really great to get along with. But remember, Jesus Christ was crucified between two thieves. So he quite often sought out those who were difficult and still chose to love them. So I would just encourage you to meditate with that John the Cross quote and then to discern, God, are you calling me here or somewhere else? If you are calling me here and I know this is the reality, I can certainly pray for them. But at the same time, I'm also going to be open to you using them to help to purify me. So hopefully, Katie, that was helpful. All right, next.